Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. Well, it's the 1st of March today, so meteorologically speaking it's the first day of spring. Of course it is a bit questionable because the weather doesn't change with the month, but it's useful when it comes to using these statistics. And it was a pretty cold winter as well. The winter just gone, as I correctly predicted. I'm quite pleased with the way the winter forecast turned out. We did have a colder than average winter, not a severely cold winter. I didn't think a severely cold winter was likely, but certainly it was a pretty cold winter, and I said it would be a sort of winter where the cold would come and go. There would be snow at times, and that's certainly how things panned out, so I'm very pleased with the way the winter forecast went. I'll be doing an evaluation of the winter of 2012-2013 and how the forecast went in a few days' time once all the statistics and the stats are in. But certainly at the moment I think it is looking like it was a pretty good forecast. And if you want to see the spring forecast, by the way, you can check that out on the seasonal page. Just go up to the information bar at the top of the page, go up to the drop bar and go to UK seasonal forecast in the video section of the bar, and you'll be able to see the spring forecast as well. And thanks very much for doing that. So I just want to mention the advertisement. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at GapsWeatherVids.com. Please play those videos. You'll be supporting GapsWeatherVids.com by doing that. So we'll start off with the GFS ensembles. Yesterday I did a video saying that I thought we could get some cold weather coming along towards the middle of March after a milder or a mild period through the first week to 10 days of the month. Not so sure about the colder spell now, but certainly the milder spell for the first week to 10 days is still on course. Very good agreement here that we're going above average over the next week to 10 days. Quite a mild spell coming up. Wouldn't be at all surprised to see temperatures up to 14, 15, maybe 16 degrees in one or two places next week. So a real taste of spring, particularly in the south and the southeast. We have still got these colder members of the ensemble. These are the GFS temperature ensembles, by the way. I should just explain that the red line here is the seasonal average. All the other lines are members, individual members of the computer model ensemble. And as I say, we have still got some colder members of the ensemble here going into the middle of the month. We've got quite a big split actually taking place, so there is certainly still a potential for some colder weather through the middle of the month, but whether we'll actually realise that potential, I'm not sure. So this is this morning's ECMWF chart for Thursday, the 7th of March, 144 hours away. As I've been explaining, we've got the breakdown to the high pressure occurring next week, with this area of low pressure developing in the Atlantic. But this low pressure looks like it's not going to push in particularly quickly through the course of next week. So what we're going to have is the low pressure out to the west and the southwest, throwing up weather systems or weather fronts across the country. Will be bringing some rain, but generally we'll be keeping the winds from a southerly or southeasterly direction. That will be quite mild. As I say, we are going to get some really quite mild days, I think, through the course of next week. And if you get any sunshine in between those rain bands, it will feel very spring-like indeed, I think, for some of us next week. So this is the chart for next Friday, a week away, and again we've got that low pressure out to west of the country bringing up this southerly wind. We still have weather fronts coming up this, so there is potential for quite a bit of rain later on next week in particular. But all the time we keep these winds from a southerly direction, bringing up that very mild spring-like air from France, from Spain. In fact, here actually the winds are going right down to Spain and Portugal, so, or the ice bars should say, go right down to Spain and Portugal, so the air is coming around that low pressure moving up across the country. So we are, I think, looking at temperatures up to 15, 16 degrees quite widely, I think, next week at times, so it will be a mild week. But then as we go through beyond that, actually the ECMWF then starts to bring that low pressure more in across the country, so that we end up with the low pressure right over the country. We cut off that southerly or southeasterly flow. That turns it cooler. And notice the blocking is getting going up to the north. This is just the chance that we could start to bring down that very cold air, or cold air, as we move through in towards the middle of the month. The GEM, it's the same sort of idea for next week. Low pressure again is in the Atlantic, stalled out there to the southwest. We're bringing up this southerly to southeasterly flow, so there is potentially some mild days, but also some quite unsettled weather, particularly in the south and the west through the course of next week. Now, as we go beyond this to next weekend, this is Saturday the 9th of March, there's the high pressure building over Scandinavia, very cold air coming down the backside of that high pressure in towards the eastern parts of Europe. You would think that would start to draw that cold air in from there, but actually what happens is that the high pressure collapses down over us, so we keep the cold air more or less locked in towards the east, on the eastern side of that high pressure, and really we just have the high pressure moving down across the country, bringing largely settled weather, perhaps a little bit on the cool side by night, but not particularly cold. The GFS model shows that again. We've got the low pressure to the southwest through the middle of next week. There is the low pressure down there, bringing up that southerly to southeasterly wind across the country. This low pressure will be bringing weather fronts across the country, which will be bringing rain at times for quite a few of us. In fact, as we go through next week, the potential for rain does get does increase really through the course of next week. So I think we'll be seeing some quite heavy rain at times through the course of next week, but really the low pressure is in control of this, and we're not really drawing in this cold weather from the northeast up to the 11th of March anyway, which is 10 days away. We keep that cold air up towards the northeast, although the potential is still there. There is potential there for cold air to be drawn in across the country as we go through to the middle of the month. So I certainly wouldn't rule that out, what I was talking about yesterday with the cold weather coming along for the middle of the month, but it doesn't look as certain really as it did yesterday, and of course even yesterday it was a long way out, as I did explain. Finally, just wanted to have a look at the 10-day temperature forecast, or the weekend temperature forecast, temperature anomalies from the GFS model. This is Friday the 1st of March to Friday the 8th of March. And we're seeing temperatures very much near normal here across the country. Of course, that's skewered by the cold weather that we've got at the moment. It is still quite cold. The southerly winds don't really get going until we get into next week. So this is, I would expect this, these pink colours here to increase as we go through the next few days, as the 10-day period moves on. I think we will start to see temperature anomalies going above average here through the course of next week, and I think it will be quite a spring-like sort of feel next week, even though it's turning increasingly unsettled with heavy rain eventually coming along towards the latter stages probably of next week. But it's a very complex pattern with this low pressure stalling out to the southwest. It's hard really to know how much rain we're going to get from this, how many weather fronts are going to be thrown up, and whether those weather fronts stall, which they could do, and then we get the potential for quite a lot of rain. It's not that far from the sort of pattern that we had in December, but it's an uncertain one, and it's going to need keeping an eye on. And beyond that, we do still have to keep an eye on the chance of colder weather coming along for the middle of March. So all in all, a very interesting period coming up, an interesting start to the spring. And come back tomorrow, because I'll be doing the week ahead forecast, or attempting to do the week ahead forecast. It's going to be a complex one, but come back for that. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.